According to a new report that came out this past Friday, President Biden raised $53 million just last month and now has $155 million cash on hand for his reelection bid. $155 million cash on hand. It's a lot of money. Meanwhile, over on the Trump side of things, his financial situation has gotten so bad that a new report from the New York Times says that he is actually having to scale back on his rallies, not hold as many rallies as he wants to, because the campaign is so low on funds, they can't afford it. Donald Trump is so broke that he can no longer travel the country the way he wants to, holding rallies every couple of days. He has not the cash reserves to do that. Because here's the funny part. Donald Trump, according to these reports, has about 40 million cash in hand, and that includes what he has from the RNC that his daughter-in-law is now calling the shots for. So he's got $40 million. But he's also not attracting any new donors because the new donors are leery to give him any money because they don't want him to spend it on his legal fees. And a simple solution to that, of course, would be Donald Trump saying, okay, I'll use my own cash to pay for my legal fees. But he can't do that because Donald Trump is functionally bankrupt due to the fact that, according to him, he has $400 million cash on hand, but he owes over $500 million in judgments against him. So because he owes more than he has in cash reserves, he is cash bankrupt. So he can't even use his own money to pay his legal fees because all of that money has to be reserved to pay the judgments against him. So he has to tap the campaign reserves to pay the legal fees, which means he then doesn't have enough money in the campaign coffers to go out there and travel the country. Now, this is a double-edged sword for Donald Trump, right? Because on the one hand, well, I guess double-edged sword is the wrong metaphor there. But anyway, it works both ways for him. It's good and bad. Because on the one hand, the bad part for Trump is that his rallies are his way to go out there and connect face-to-face with his base. His supporters love it. They love the draw of it, even though fewer and fewer people are showing up at the rallies. Most of them still like it. But on the other side, if Trump is not out there holding rallies, then we're not going to get these wonderful clips of him saying that America's going to be a bloodbath if he doesn't get reelected, or that migrants aren't really human beings. Comments that, of course, blow up in the media and turn off moderate and independent voters. So not being able to hold rallies might actually work to Donald Trump's benefits because it's not going to give the media as many horrible sound bites of him to show the voters what a horrible human being he is. So maybe for Donald Trump, losing all your money is actually a blessing in disguise. It gives you less cash to go out there and make a complete and total fool of yourself. So maybe going bankrupt is the only thing that saves your campaign at this point. Because if the voters are not constantly reminded about what a horrible human being you are and how many brain farts you have during a particular speech, they might be a little bit more inclined to vote for you. Like, oh, hey, Trump hasn't said anything stupid in the last 2 months. Maybe he's toned it down. But in reality, it's just because you can't afford to go out there and hold your rallies, so the media has nothing to talk about, and, you know, it is what it is. I do think Donald Trump is going to find a way, to keep funding these rallies. He loves doing them. And even when he's in the headlines for negative things, he still loves it. He loves the fact that people talk about him, whether it's good or bad. In his eyes, of course, there's no such thing as bad publicity. But it hurts him with the moderate and independent voters. So for his campaign, the smartest thing to do would just be to shut up, take your losses, and stop holding rallies. But he's not going to do that because he needs that attention. He needs that admiration of the people in the crowd. He lives off of it. He feeds off it. And if he doesn't have it, well, he's just going to be a sad sack posting on Truth Social all day long.